The 4 Ds are useful concepts to have in mind when looking at any building. They came from Canada, but they apply equally well here where the climate's quite similar. They are deflection, drainage, drying, and durability. These can be thought of as 4 successive layers of protection to any building. So deflection is like the raincoat, it's the outer layer, but raincoats don't keep you perfectly dry, and all houses leak. A certain amount of water inevitably gets past the raincoat, past the deflective layer. And so the second layer of protection is drainage. This is the ability for any water that gets past the raincoat to drain away freely, like that waterfall. But not all of the water that gets past the raincoat will drain away freely, and so the third layer of protection is drying. So this is the ability of the water which has been absorbed into the structure to dissipate as quickly as possible. And the last layer, durability, is extremely important because the first 3 layers are not perfect. Water will get through the raincoat, not all the water will drain away, not all the water will dry out really quickly, and so those materials which are holding moisture for an indefinite period of time need to be durable enough to be able to survive that period of being damp. This is what happens when the materials are not durable enough. That picture was taken from a house built about 11 years ago in 1999 out of kiln-dried untreated pine. In that particular case, like so many thousands of houses built at that time, the outer layer did not deflect all the water. The water that got through that outer layer could not drain away freely. The water that was absorbed into the materials was not able to dry quickly, and the materials were not durable enough to survive that period of being damp. So there was a cross by all 4 of the successive layers of protection. So now what's happened since those dark days is that people have understood these concepts, and so they now build claddings. Generally speaking, claddings are separated from the structure so that when water gets through the raincoat it can drain away more freely than when the cladding is fixed directly to the structure. So that's the first improvement, to provide what they call a cavity, a gap between the cladding and the structure. And then the second one comes as a consequence really of having that cavity. Generally speaking, the cavities should be designed so that they also have lots of air circulation going on. So that's the drying part. So drainage and drying are together assisted by the cavity. And then the final one, durability. Of course, nowadays we treat the framing timber to a much higher level of preservatives. And now, by the way, we use boron, which is not particularly toxic, far less toxic than what we were previously using. But anyway, so now we have treated timber. So now we tend to have all 4 of those successive layers of protection better organised than we used to have 10 years ago. So just remember that. That's what you're looking for, those 4 successive layers of protection. Deflection, drainage, drying, and durability. Thanks.